In this video, we are going to cover what a deload week is, how you should incorporate it, and who is it for. So what is a deload? Now, a deload is a planned period of rest time that is strategically put in place to avoid plateaus and overtraining. So the goal of a deload is to help you work out smarter, not harder. It's about being more time efficient, making sure that we minimize injury and maximize our results. So if you're somebody that wants to continue to make progress and also work smarter, not harder, a deload might be something that you want to consider. Before we can dive into exactly how valuable a deload is, let's talk about what happens in the body when you are training consistently. Stress is stress on the body. Now, fitness and exercise and everything that you do is healthy, but it also does create some stress in the body. So, number one, training consistently is going to not only increase your fitness level, but you're also going to be increasing your fatigue over time. Now, if your fatigue gets too high, you're going to start to see your performance go down. That's where you might hit a fitness plateau, you might experience an injury, and you're just not at all making gains. So the idea of a deload is you are proactively taking a small enough period of time where it's not going to impact your fitness level to minimize and diminish that fatigue level so you can come back, hit your workouts, and start making progress again. Now, often not taking the time to really truly rest and recover, your body is going to start to hit a plateau, or you're going to get this diminishing gains effect, which is not very time effective. So who should incorporate a deload and how often? Well, a lot of it depends on where you are in your fitness journey. If you're a beginner, you're an intermediate or advanced athlete. Now, beginners don't typically need to have deload weeks quite as often. You're still getting those newbie gains and you don't have that much fatigue built up. Now, the intermediate athlete probably has a little bit more fatigue and would benefit from having more deload weeks mixed into their routine. For the advanced athlete, I highly recommend you include them pretty often as you are probably performing at a very high level. Now, if you are not consistent in your routine at all, a deload week probably doesn't do you much good because, let's be honest, you're pretty much deloading every week or every other week. Another person that's probably a good candidate for a deload week is somebody that is experiencing a lot of pain. So it's a great way to mitigate that pain and work on that during that deload week. So if you are experiencing pain, maybe take a step back and work on form and function for a week and come back when you're ready. So when should you incorporate a deload into your routine? Well, there's two ways you can look at this. One, a proactive approach, or two, a reactive approach. I'm typically a fan of number one. Number two tends to just have a little bit more risk. So let's dive into each. Proactive approach just means you're going to schedule it into your routine every 4 to 8 weeks. It's going to be highly dependent upon one, how long you've been training, and two, how intense your current training program is. Now, one thing you really want to pay attention to is you got to know what you're doing. So again, if you are not consistent or if you're just kind of doing this and that, you probably don't need a deload week. It's more for the person that is very focused, has a very clear program, and has been hitting the gym pretty hard. The reason I like number one is because the reactive approach goes more on you take it when you feel like you need it. Now, if you're like me and you run a pretty tough mental game, you don't want to get caught in a burnout and it's too late, now you're injured. So I tend to like the proactive approach. However, if you know your body very well, you can feel it out and take a deload week when you feel like you need it. So what does a deload look like? Well, there's two different ways you can incorporate this. One, you could take a complete week off, or two, you just reduce the volume and intensity. So I'll tell you a little bit about both and which one I prefer. So one, taking a complete week off. It's not my favorite, but there's always a place and time for it. So if you're going on vacation, if you just are really burnt out or you just need the mental break, taking a full deload week is probably best for you. It's not long enough where you're going to lose a lot of your fitness gains, and it's going to give you that break and complete time off to just mentally refresh. Now, the number 2 option is my favorite because I tend to love to keep consistency. Now, you guys know consistency and the habit is what is going to ultimately keep you successful over time. So if you can, I love option 2, where you're just going to simply reduce your intensity and your volume for that week. And that way you never really miss a beat. So if we go with option 2, overall, you want to drop your volume and intensity. If we look at this in a very scientific way, you want to drop your volume by about 30 to 50%. So this is about 1 to 2 sets per muscle group. If you're going to drop your intensity, then you want to look at it from an RPE scale standpoint. So if you typically work out at about an 8 or a 10, you're going to want to drop it down to about a 5 or a 6. Now, if you want to take a less scientific approach, think of your deload week as a fun week and do the activities that you love that are also low impact and low stress on the body. So maybe you want to go for more stretching, foam rolling, walking, low impact movement, and light full body weight training. You can also go ahead and take full advantage of massage, cold therapy, and other recovery type modalities that maybe you don't have time for in your typical training week. You might want to use this time for more sleep. You can even really focus on your nutrition because nutrition is going to be the best way to build your body up as you are recovering. You can also make time for other mindful activities that maybe you don't typically work into your routine. So gratitude journals, meditation, just anything that's going to help you be well-rounded in your fitness and truly take advantage of that recovery time. Now, you definitely don't want to implement anything crazy movement pattern like during your deload week because you want to be safe. So think of it as a technique week, as a fun week, as a way to just rejuvenate and come back feeling fresh, ready to hit the ground running. So how do I incorporate deloads into my routine? For me personally, I incorporate a deload every 6 weeks. I like to schedule my training that way. So every 6 weeks, I am switching up my strength training routine. That helps me continue to see progress and also rest my body because I am a very active exerciser. So how do you know if your deload worked? You took the week off? You're not sure if it did anything? Well, number 1, if you come back and you feel highly energized and excited and motivated and stronger, it did its job. That means your fatigue is down and you are rejuvenated and ready to hit the ground running. Now, if you don't feel much change, maybe you didn't need it right then and you can extend your next planned deload week, but that is why exercise and fitness is a journey and we are always learning about ourselves. This is just another tool to put in your tool belt and continue your journey in the most safe, happy, and healthy way. So in the end, a deload week is such a great idea. I highly recommend it. It's for anybody that is a very consistent exerciser that wants to continue to see injury-free progress over a long span of time. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you want to see more content like this, please let me know below. And if you have specific questions, make sure to let me know as well so I can cover that in a future episode.